At Anystays, each listing supports multiple policies and corresponding rates. Policies can be thought of as conditions that a booking must meet for the corresponding price to be available. For example, you may have a policy with maximum 2 guests and a policy with maximum 4 guests. A guest will only be able to book on either of the policies if they have 2 guests in their party, and only on the second policy if they have 4 guests in their party. Policies give you a lot of control over how your listing can be booked and what will happen once it is booked. Basic criteria on policies include the minimum and maximum number of guests associated rates can be booked for, the minimum and maximum number of nights allowed, and how far in advance of the check-in date the booking can be made. We provide you with options to customise your refund policy. All rates can either be non-refundable or refundable. Refundable rates can either be fully refundable at all times or have up to 2 options for refunds. For example, you may allow a 100% refund up to 14 days before check-in and a 50% refund up to 7 days before check-in. Regardless of your refund policy, all bookings are eligible for the standard Anystays refund grace period of 4 hours. All bookings, even those made on a non-refundable basis, will always be cancelable for a 100% refund within 4 hours of booking. Anystays lets you set up a restriction to automatically cancel bookings that remain unpaid after a certain time period. This helps you ensure that guests have paid fully before their check-in date, or they will not be able to stay. If you use this functionality, we recommend you to be quite lax with it so that guests have the opportunity to pay before their booking starts. A good rule of thumb is to only allow a booking to be automatically cancelled if it is unpaid 1 to 3 days before check-in. Regardless of your cancellation policy, all bookings have a 1-hour grace period after booking, during which a guest can update their card details with no risk of cancellation. Some hosts may be required to collect taxes such as sales tax. Within policies, you can easily set the tax which will be charged on top of every base rate. For most hosts that require taxes, variable taxes are the best option, as this will allow you to specify a tax rate as a percentage and be automatically calculated on top of your base rate. Taxes you specify will be shown on the invoice provided to guests. We support collecting damage deposits directly on our platform. If you enable deposit collection, you can specify the amount to be pre-authorised by the guest and the time when the pre-authorisation will become available. We recommend that pre-authorisation is collected 1 day before check-in to ensure that your guests don't have pre-authorisations held long before check-in, and also that you'll be able to hold the pre-authorisation for the entire length of the stay. All pre-authorisations get automatically released by Stripe 30 days after they are collected, unless the guest jurisdiction requires a shorter release time, but you may specify an early release time. We currently do not automatically release pre-authorisations early, so if you specify an early release time, it is the host's responsibility to handle this via their Stripe account. We also support collecting guest IDs. If you enable this within a policy, bookings made on that policy will be provided with an option to use our secure ID uploader to provide you with an image of the guest's photo ID. We provide this service to help you comply with regulations such as the UK's Immigration Hotel Records Order 1972 and GDPR, but it is ultimately your responsibility as a host to ensure you comply with all relevant legislation when handling bookings and guest data. Every policy can have additional fees associated with it. When a guest books a rate with a given policy, all the fees on that policy will be applied on top of the rate you specified, what we call the base rate. Fees can be applied over different time periods, for example, once per stay or every night. Fees can also be restricted to bookings with a certain number of guests, or, if you charge for pets, only for bookings that have pets, and can additionally apply for every guest within the fees range. You can easily set up additional charges such as extra person fees by creating a nightly fee with a minimum and maximum number of guests and selecting per matched guest to apply the fee for every guest between the minimum and maximum inclusive. You can add separate cleaning fees by creating a per stay fee for any number of guests. Fees may also have specific taxes applied to them. Rates are the actual base prices shown to a guest for a given policy, before any additional fees are applied. Every rate must have a price per night, but may optionally have specific prices per week, month, this is considered 28 days for the purposes of rates, or year. If a guest books 10 days on a rate with both a weekly and nightly price, the total base price will be the weekly price plus 3 times the nightly price.